A warm welcome to the online book launch of Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka, covering 25 years of civilian bravery in Sri Lanka and authored by Mr. Kasun Chandraratna, who is no stranger to all of you. He is the founder president of the Foundation of Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka. We are graced today by the presence of Honorable Mahinda Yapa Abbeywardane, our Chief Patron and Speaker of Parliament of Sri Lanka. We are also pleased to have with us Honorable Karu Jayasuriya, the Senior Patron and former Speaker of Parliament, and Honorable P. Dayaratna, the Patron and former Minister. We warmly welcome all of you. We also extend a warm welcome to His Lordship Asoka de Silva, the former Chief Justice, and His Lordship Justice Vijit Malalgoda, Judge of the Supreme Court. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Mr. Rohan Sahabandhu, President's Council, and the Chairman of Legal Aid Commission and Senior State Counsel, Dr. Avanti Pereira. It is our pride to have such an honorable host of guests present, where I am compelled to mention those who stood with us in the long journey of this national endeavor. It is a great honor, I would say, to have with us guests connecting from Australia, United Kingdom, and USA. And we gladly welcome Professor John Maynard, President, and Miss Sue Cutler, Secretary of the Royal Humane Society of Australasia, and retired Major Roland Milbank, Life Member of the Royal Humane Society of New South Wales, all connecting from Australia. From the UK, we welcome Mrs. Rebecca Maciuska, Chief Executive of the Victoria Cross and George Cross Association. And from the USA, we welcome Mr. Jeffrey A. Dooley, Assistant Secretary, Investigations Manager of the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. We also welcome Mr. Arun Dias Bandaranaike, a well-known compere and a celebrated radio and television presenter, who will be presenting his review of the book Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka. We also welcome Mr. R.M.P.S. Ratnayaka, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Defence, retired Major General Ubaya Medavela, former Chief of Staff of Sri Lankan Army, and Brigadier Rohan Ponnapperuma, Brigadier General Staff. We are happy to welcome Senior Professor Ranjit Premalal de Silva, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Vocational Technology, and Captain Jawad Alim, the former Chief Pilot of Sri Lankan Airlines, along with his wife, who are joining from USA. Captain Alim has been a long-standing benefactor of the Foundation for Civilian Bravery from its inception. It is my privilege to welcome Professor Gamini Pushpakumara, the Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Professor Cyril Vijayasundara, and the other members who served in the selection boards. From the private sector, we have Mr. Manjula de Silva, CEO of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Jude Fernando, Managing Director of Hemas Pharmaceuticals. I'm duty-bound to acknowledge the presence of retired Senior DIG Asoka Vijaytilaka, retired DIG Lancelot Pereira, who composed the lyrics of the Foundation's song, former Secretary of Education and Higher Education, Mr. Nimal Bandara, Secretary of University Grants Commission, Mrs. Visakha Wanasinghe, and former Head of Programming at Sri Lanka Rupavahini, Mr. Jayasiri Vijayaratna. We welcome the awardees of the Foundation, officers and members of the Foundation for Civilian Bravery, and all our distinguished guests who have sacrificed their valuable time on a Saturday to connect with us today. Today is a historical day for the Foundation of Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka, as its founder president, Mr. Kasun Chandraratna, fulfills yet another milestone in his vision with the publication of his book, Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka, 1993 to 2018. This book is an account detailing the author's journey in the transformation of a vision to a passion over a period of 25 years. The book explains Mr. Chandraratna's vision and the enduring struggle to spread the ideology of recognizing incidents of civilian bravery in order to instill the value of life in our communities. Additionally, the book vividly describes incidents of bravery by civilian heroes who selflessly sacrificed or endangered their lives in order to save the life of others, and were recognized by the Foundation of Civilian Bravery during the period of 25 years. The book serves as the only historical record of such acts of civilian bravery which were recognized nationally during the period from 1993 to 2018. This book was published for the Foundation for Civilian Bravery by the Jam Fruit Tree Publications. I would now like to invite Honorable Mahinda Yapa Abbeywardane, Speaker of Parliament of Sri Lanka, to open this event by speaking a few words. Sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Karu Jayasuriya, former Speaker of Parliament, and Mr. P. Dayaratna, former Minister of Sri Lanka, distinguished members from overseas organizations, members of the Foundation of the Civilian Bravery, ladies and gentlemen. Today's event is very dear to me as it focuses on the public who save lives of their fellow men, risking their own lives. The foundation works hard to raise them to the platform of civilian heroes. What we are going to hear is of a book containing such heart-winning stories during the past 25 years. Mr. Chandaratna is to be commended on his dedication to set up a foundation for civilian bravery and to put to motion the concept of civilian bravery and its execution through the past 25 years. I have accepted to be its the chief patron, following the footpath of my predecessor, Mr. Karu Jayasuriya. In the short time of my association, I learned how these awardees have been acting in response to a distress call of another, without any concern what to racial or other criteria, and without exception of any reward as well. I think this is the hallmark of humanity. At times, they sacrifice their lives, leaving their dependents helpless. Afterwards, they being ordinary citizens, their loved ones face many hardships in education, day-to-day sustainability, and also become open to the multifaceted evil vulnerabilities of the society. I will forward this matter to the Ministry of Social Services to be assistance to such needy families. This is a matter warranting our close attention. I thank you all present, and especially the officers of overseas organizations and diplomatic staff. I wish to invite, once the COVID pandemic settles down, the representatives of overseas organizations to participate in a future award ceremony held in Sri Lanka. May we hear more civilian heroes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for your presence here today and insightful and inspiring words. I would now like to invite Honorable Karu Jayasuriya, former Speaker of Parliament, to address the audience.
Good day to everybody. May I first greet our distinguished overseas visitors the Sri Lankan way by saying Abbeywardane, which means may you have long lives. Indeed, a great privilege to have all of you been attending to this very special function. Honorable Mahinda Yapa Abbeywardane, Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka, Mr. P. Dayaratna, former Senior Minister, the Royal Highness Societies in the UK and Austria, all their members, Carnegie Hero Fund Commission of USA and UK, all their members, and all other special distinguished invitees, Chairman or President of the Civilian Bravery, Mr. Kasumpi Chandaratna, and members. May I say that indeed it is a very happy moment to be present in this book launch of the Foundation for Civilian Bravery. When I was asked to be the chief patron of the foundation, I felt very happy to accept it and be associated, especially recognizing the sacrifice of them, of these ordinary people, yet unheard of or unsung. The foundation prime goal is to respect them, salute them on behalf of the society at large for their wonderful efforts. I noticed that many of the heroes do come from grassroots level of the society, and recognition alone is not sufficient, and that they also need various assistance, support, and especially financial assistance. We were able to get some funds for this purpose, and the awardees were naturally happy that they were recognized and they were assisted, they were supported. The fact that foundation is lacking funds is a restriction in the midst of such limitations. The drive of the foundation is commendable. A special thanks to Mr. Kasumpi Chandraratna, whom I knew for some time, and his dedication and commitment to this task is really appreciated. It was indeed a great pleasure working with him during my short period. I must also thank the Honorable Speaker for his contribution to be the chief patron and the support to execute the foundation goal, which is undoubtedly a national endeavor. The foundation needs more private sector and government support, and especially to take care of the welfare of the affected families. I'm very happy to note that the Honorable Speaker is pursuing this aspect with the Ministry of Social Services. I express my warmest gratitude to the overseas organizations while requesting to be excused for my inability to mention them individually for their participation, and the officers of the foundation will be thrilled and encouraged in their endeavors due to your participation. Saving life is a paramount objective in any developed society, and towards it, we all must support, exclusive of geography or other discriminatory criteria. I thank the organizers for inviting me, and I must say that I really enjoyed every moment of this proceeding. Thank you very much for your courtesy of attention. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir, for your presence and sharing your thoughts. We will now move on to the book presentation. This is a pre-recorded version because of the current situation and the online event. I will now share a short video where Mr. Chandraratna is presenting the book to various dignitaries. So here we have Mr. Chandraratna presenting the book to Honorable Speaker and to Honorable P. Dayaratna. He also made a presentation to Major General D.G.S. Senrat Yapa, Commander Security Forces West, in the company of Major General Asoka Piris, Chief Signal Officer, Army Headquarters, Sri Jayawardenepura, and Brigadier Rohan Ponnapperma, Brigadier General Staff, Army Cantonment, Panagoda. It's a great honor to have all of you all with us. So we will now move on. We will now move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the book review. I would like to invite Mr. Arun Das Bandarnayaka, who has helped the foundation with his services on a gratis basis for many years, to share his review of the book. Arun, please take over.
Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, honorable members of Parliament, honorable justices, our distinguished invitees, officers of the services, office bearers of the foundation, and importantly, civilian heroes of Sri Lanka. Now, the book's cover conveys a small but significant element in the story. It's a photograph of a group of civilian heroes holding aloft the banner that depicts the logo of the Foundation for Civilian Bravery. And they are included in the March Past parade on National Day in February 2019 at the ceremonial marking of the 72nd anniversary of independence. They're walking decorously before the distinguished audience of national leaders, diplomats, dignitaries, and special invitees on that day. If it could be averred that this symbolic moment is a telling index of the recognition that is being accorded the foundation and of the value and significance of who or what is a civilian hero, and that there is awareness in the community of Lankans, then it is deserving of deeper inquiry as to how such acceptance and recognition was achieved. And this account in the book allows the reader to ascertain for him or herself the degree of passion and commitment, the determination, the driving energy, as well as the challenges faced and the disappointments along the way during the 25 years since embarking on the establishment of a platform in this country of Sri Lanka for honoring ordinary people who have responded in an extraordinary manner in a fearsome moment of crisis and real danger to life. The author, as you know, is the founder president of this Foundation for Civilian Bravery, and he's best equipped to share this narrative, given that he has been at the very epicenter of the effort toward making people appreciate that intangible element that provides the impetus for a person toward a selfless act on behalf of his fellow man. On the reverse of the title page, there is a quote that bears reading out, and this was spoken by the Honorable Justice N.M. Ratna of the Supreme Court at the presentation of awards for civilian bravery back in the year 1996, where that learned judge observes, and I quote, "The urge for the performance of a civilian act of bravery does not spring from any responsibility or obligation mandated or implied by law, but from the inner refinements of the heart of the doer of that act, like love and compassion," unquote. Now, the book comprises two parts, the second of which contains chapters that chronicle the outstanding examples among us of humans who have manifested the qualities and nobility of spirit that marks them as suited for being lauded and celebrated as heroes. There are 5 chapters in part 2, which help the reader to appreciate the range of those who are Lanka's heroes and what acts define their bravery. And these chapters also explain the different categories under which the awards of recognition are classified. The range includes those who are young, those who are students at school, and at the other end of the scale, as it were, there are some who are aged and wise, have not taken themselves for granted, but have, in the shortest time as it takes to bat an eyelid, been prompted to do what they did to save a life. And some of these accounts carry much poignancy and prompt a stirring in our hearts, even of admiration, when we read them. Now, part 1 of this excellent volume draws the reader into the scholarly realm to establish the rationale for what should be called a national honor. And this part of the story shares the author's feelings, emotions, and the relentless effort that has consumed his being. Mr. Chandraratna reveals in his introduction of how a used copy that came to hand of the Reader's Digest magazine of March 1990, wherein was an article, "Don't Let My Father Die," which piece he read, spurred him to think seriously of the concept of civilian bravery in Sri Lanka. And he writes, and I quote, "I tried to persuade the government to set up an organization under the president of Sri Lanka, which failed. Then I set up the organization as a trust under my own name, which later was established by an act of parliament, unquote. And he continues, and I quote again, the Reader's Digest introduced me to the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission of the USA, from where I borrowed the model and their experience through the then Secretary of the Commission, Walter Rutkowski, to whom I shall ever be grateful. The act which established the foundation was silent on the funding aspect, and we have suffered during the past many years to date to realize our objectives in such an environment, unquote. So in these pages, one comes to appreciate that there is a generous spirit that can be motivated to recognize something worthwhile and that which is noble in intent. And the author shares with us the names of folk who were compelled in their hearts to support the initiatives that were being driven by Mr. Chandraratna. And we are constantly reminded that there had been no precedent set at any time in the history of Ceylon or Sri Lanka where ordinary people who had leapt forward in an instant of time, voluntarily saving a life in peril at the risk of one's own life, where they were in any way appreciated or memorialized as worthy of a national honor. There is none. So this initiative was all very new in the context of Sri Lanka. And we learn of the personal generosity of individuals such as Captain Javed Alim, I beg your pardon, a national of Pakistan, and then our own Mr. Vijita Yapa, chairman of the renowned book publishing house, Vijita Yapa Associates, who deemed the cause espoused by Kasun Chandraratna as most deserving. And they committed their personal funds over a period of a decade in making it possible for the trust and afterward the foundation to tide over the huge shortfall of finances, or should I say the shortfall in finances, to be able to take forward the work of recognizing the civilian heroes at the annual awards event, which too was organized under much stress and tribulation. In time, there were others who also were motivated to follow these examples, and it is most encouraging to be acquainted with these details of the struggle. Now, part one of the book also includes the philosophical, legal, and moral perspectives that attend the initiatives in chapters 1 to 6. In chapter 4, there is an engagement with the fundamental question of life. Who or what is a life? Is this limited to sentient beings, or is there a need to encompass a wider recognition of life and what it means? The deeper discussion continues in chapter 5 with legal aspects of civilian bravery, and also explores the validity of the statement that all living things have the right to life. And the reader is helped to comprehend that these insights garnered from what have been examined by savants and sages over time have ultimately informed the drafting of national constitutions, including what are called fundamental rights. With that background in knowledge, one can appreciate that recognizing persons and honoring individuals who have demonstrated the belief in the value of life makes the best sense from a societal point of view. There is quite a detailed discussion as to the vital difference between civilian bravery and gallantry and bravery in the battlefield, which gallantry and bravery in the face of the enemy has been well documented and celebrated in Sri Lanka over several decades now. War heroes are constantly brought before the national consciousness and before the media, whereas the same cannot be said of civilian bravery. And there exists a need for such an impress on society. There is great need of a caring, kindly response to our fellow humans in times of need, to animals on the planet, and in caring for the environment in which all beings are helped to sustain their lives. So in chapter 6, under the title, Civilian Heroes Are Biophilic, the point is made, and I quote, "The concept of civilian bravery is to ensure the continuity of life and thus the importance to regard other living systems as an integral part of life is stressed here. Life depends on all forms of life. Therefore, any understanding that other forms of life depend on the mercy of mankind need to be treated with care, unquote. Then to part 2, that chronicle draws the reader close to the heroes and what they have done. And the accounts are many, and each one of those reports are both enlightening and very encouraging. And I can only offer a few samples in this review. And in page 86, there's this, and I'll be happy to quickly take us through that sampling. Second Satyamurthy of Mahayava Kandy was a cleaner in a Kandy hotel. On December the 31st, 2005, at around 12:30 in the afternoon, he noticed a lot of smoke rising into the sky as he was approaching the hotel where he was employed. He rushed to the source of the smoke and found a 2-story building at Simbalagastanna on fire. A large crowd was watching as the fire engulfed the structure. Satyamurthy learned that the building was occupied by 3 families. One of the families was not home at the time of the fire, another had escaped to safety. Of the 3rd family, only the children, Fatima Hatsya Nias, a 4-year-old girl, and Abdul Halsin Nias, a 3.5-year-old boy, were at home. Raging flames blocked the entrance to the room in which the children were, and any entry seemed impossible. Satyamurthy learned the location of the children from the family who had escaped, and without wasting time, he readied himself to enter the building through the rear. He was told that the children would be dead by then, and that there would be no purpose served by any rescue attempt, but he did not heed the warnings. Satyamurthy entered the building by breaking through a window and then 2 doors with a hand axe. Encountering huge flames, he had to lie down and creep forward. Satyamurthy found one child lying unconscious on the floor. Again, creeping, he took the child to safety over the course that he had entered the building. And although he feared re-entering the structure, thoughts of the child left behind overpowered him. And so Satyamurthy re-entered the building and found the other child unconscious. Without wasting a moment, he took the child to safety. For his act of selfless bravery, Satyamurthy was chosen in 2006 to receive the gold medal of civilian bravery, or the Budalna Gold Medal, by the foundation. Then page 130 records an account that hardly anyone knows of. Now, there is a category of awards specific to the members of the clergy, known as the Civilian Bravery Inscription in Gold. In the year 2000, this action was voluntarily undertaken by the Reverend Balangmuda Mahanamathero. And the inscription in gold, as I'm reading in page 130, was presented 4th of August 2001 to Reverend Balangmuda Mahanamathero for gifting one of his kidneys to the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Lakshman Kadragama, in order to fulfill charity perfection, or Dana Paramita. Hardly anyone knows of this. And we are happy that we can mention that with honor. There's another very heartwarming incident recording the presence, that records the presence of mind displayed by a youngster in school who was awarded the Student's Gold Star of Civilian Bravery. And it is also of added significance that the issue of Reader's Digest of December 2010 carried this account in its issue in page 152 under the title Heroes, Gaul, Sri Lanka. So this is how it is. It was raining and the students at St. Anthony's College, Gaul, were about to start their usual classroom work. Sanjeeva, a student in grade 8, noticed a seepage from one of the buildings housing several classrooms. The new subject on disaster management learned in school prompted him to think of the possibility of a landslide. And without delay, he brought it to the notice of the principal. And the principal acted quickly and vacated the building immediately. The classrooms had around 200 students. Action had been taken in the nick of time, as the seepage soon turned into a landslide, which caused the collapse of the building. And as I said, this was published in the issue of the Reader's Digest of December 2010. Well, there are plenty more of similar accounts that will enthrall the reader of this fine volume, lovingly prepared and winsomely delivered in form and substance. Back to Jerome.
Thank you, Arun, for that wonderful review. I'm sure our audience can't wait to get a hold of their copy. For those who would like to purchase a copy of this book, you can place your order online by using the link available at www.civilianbravery.org. We also shared it on our broadcast. You can purchase the book and get it delivered to your doorstep. So we'll move on now to the author's vista. And I would like to invite Mr. Kasun Chandraratna to tell us his story and the inspiration for the publication. Mr. Chandraratna.
The Chief Patron, Mahinda Yapa Abbeywardane, the Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka, the Senior Patron, Honorable Karujaya Surya, former Speaker of Parliament of Sri Lanka, Honorable P. Daratna, Patron, former Minister, distinguished overseas participants, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt today is a memorable day for me, and your presence is most rewarding and encouraging. The word civil has come into the usage in the late 14th century, relating to citizens and public life, deriving from French language. The phrase civilian bravery, I understand, came into usage in the last 2 centuries. It means there is a great potential for development of the concept of civilian bravery. I believe that the book Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka is definitely a positive contribution in this regard. The overseas organizations participating today have been in existence more than a century. We are just completing 25 years. And Carnegie Hero Fund Commission was established by Andrew Carnegie, the millionaire, investing $5 million in the year 1904. The Foundation for Civilian Bravery, however, did not have the fortune of such investment up to date. I invested 25 years of my life and this book is the outcome. This book summarizes and narrates the experience of 25 years, observations made during that time, and the rationale of civilian bravery as I understood due to deep involvement in the work. The devotees of the association, generally regarded as flowers bloomed in the wilderness, were brought to limelight through the ceremonies held during the past, and this book records them with great honor. The essence of our work, I may say, is appreciating saving life. In this regard, recently, there was, we were upheld by the Supreme Court in that safeguarding and protecting the Good Samaritans who will help, who will save the life of a victim of road accidents. And I take this opportunity to draw your attention to the photograph on the cover of the book. 30 awardees took part in the National 72nd Independence Day Parade of Sri Lanka. This is history. This is history because this is the first time ever the awardees or the civilian heroes took part or marched along with the armed services at an Independence Day parade. I humbly say that this is not an awardee marching or a march of awardees, but this is the march of civilian bravery in Sri Lanka. I thank you all, and your presence makes me very proud, and I'm very grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chandraratna. Your words were very inspiring to all of us, and I'm sure it was very emotional to you as well. A journey of over 25 years to realize your passion. I would now, we do have a few comments by some of our distinguished participants, and I would like to invite them to make a brief comment. First of all, I would like to invite Professor John Maynard, President of the Royal Humane Society of Australasia in Australia.
The Honourable Yapa Raramati, Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka. The Honourable Karu Yasavaya, former Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka. Mr. Kesan Shandaratne, President, and Mr. Jerome Bohia, Vice President of the Foundation for Civilian Bravery. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My thanks for the invitation to your book launch. The Royal Humane Society of Australasia was first instituted in 1874 and has been in operation continuously for 147 years. It has the important community role of giving public recognition to acts of bravery to those who risk their own lives to save or attempt to save the lives of others. A secondary role is to provide financial assistance through its relief fund to award recipients who are disadvantaged because of their brave acts, and to the next of kin who have died rescuing others and whose acts earned a posthumous medal. 12,389 cases have been considered over the years by the Society, which is a voluntary organisation. I would like to congratulate Mr. Kesan Shandaratne on the writing and now publishing of the book, Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka, which I'm sure will give many examples of human selflessness, kindness, and bravery. I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your words. May I now invite Mr. Jeffrey Dooley from the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission in USA to speak a few words.
Yes, very pleased to be with you here today. Hello, Mr. Chandraratna and distinguished guests. Thank you for inviting the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission in Pittsburgh to join you for the launch of your new book, Civilian Bravery in Sri Lanka. Very honored to be here. Were he here today, Mr. Carnegie would have been pleased to see 25 years after its inception, the Foundation for Civilian Bravery continuing its noble mission to recognize individuals in Sri Lanka who have performed acts of bravery by risking their lives to save others. The idea of the National Civilian Bravery Award is a good example of one individual taking the small seed of an idea, planting it, and then through hard work, watching it grow into what it has become today, a thriving, successful organization. There can be no greater satisfaction than finding and recognizing such deserving individuals. And it's good to see many of us here today to offer our congratulations and support. As Carnegie once stated, we live in a heroic age. And that statement is no less true today than it was when he first spoke it 117 years ago. And whether that be in Sri Lanka, Europe, the United States, or anywhere in the world, Carnegie, better than most, recognized the fact that the human impulse to act when another life is in danger is universal. Best of luck to you and the Foundation of Civilian Bravery going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, may I invite Mrs. Rebecca Machiuska, Chief Executive of the Victoria Cross and George Cross Association in the UK, to speak a few words.
It's a great honour to be here today. For us in the UK, it's in the morning, whereas for you, it's in the afternoon. It's a weekend, and it's very special for me to be at home and engaging with all of you. The Victoria Cross and George Cross Association was set up in 1956. Part of the aims of the association were to bring people together throughout the Commonwealth. And so I just want to thank you particularly for putting that into practice and for uniting us today in honouring and remembering the brave deeds and actions of members of your country. So the association is now sadly quite diminished in number. There are only 23 living recipients, as well as 3 collective awards. We have 9 Victoria Crosses in Australia, in New Zealand, and in the UK. And we have 14 George Cross recipients. All of them send their very best wishes and are just grateful to you, Mr. Chandraratne, for what you have done to continue to bring the deeds and the selfless actions of others to the attention of the nation and to the world. And I just look forward to working together to ensure that we can all continue to honour these things and to encourage others by the actions of those who have been awarded to continue to do great things selflessly and without regard for their own personal safety. I really wish your book a great success. We will do all we can here in the UK to promote it. And thank you for involving me today in your wonderful book launch.
Thank you, Mrs. Machiuska. Thank you very much for your kind words. So we'll move on now to some comments that our awardees would like to make. Miss Purjani Ranasinghe, she was awarded the silver medal in 2017 for bravely standing up to 2 armed robbers in a supermarket and thwarting the robbery. Miss Purjani.
Patron, Honorable Speaker of the Parliament, and the guest. Very good evening to you all. I am Purjani Ranasinghe from Bandaragama. I work as a junior executive in Alliance Insurance Lanka Limited. I am a recipient of Silver Medal of the Civil Bravery in 2016. I was given this medal for fighting with the robbers who came to rob the shop. I was the cashier and demanded money. I refused. I took a chair and attacked them with the chair. They ran away, firing the pistol to the air. Then only I noticed that they had a gun in their hand. I am proud to be a recipient of Silver Medal of the Foundation Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Pujani. We'll move on to the next person. Mr. Johan Chaminda, I did see him. He was positioning himself on his video. He was awarded a silver medal in 1998 as a young student when he risked his life to rescue a man who was precariously poised to fall off a tree. He can now say a few words. Johan Chaminda.
Good
Please.
evening, Good evening,
Johan. Yeah, please stay online.
I am Johan Chaminda, Jaising Arachi. I am in the year 1997. I could save a life of a man who was choked in branch of a tree. For that deed, I was awarded with the medal Viruchana Veera Rajata for the year 1997. During that time, I was a student of Sri Sunanda Vidyalaya Mapalagama in the Galle district. At present, I am in Sri Lanka Air Force and I could join for UN mission in South Sudan 1992-2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you very much. Okay, the final speaker from among the awardees is Mr. N. Ramaraj. Is he with us? He was connected earlier.
Hello.
Okay, yes, Ramaraj, please go ahead and speak. While you're speaking, we will share a video clip of the incident where you were involved in. Please go ahead and speak.
Hi, Bhavan. Mage nama Ramaraj. Mage rasawa electroplating. 2019 අපි හිටපු බිල්ඩිමේ උදේ 6:30ට වගේ ගිනි ගත්තා. ඒ වෙලාවේ මට කරගන්න දෙයක් නැති වුණා. ඊට පස්සේ මම ජන්නලේ උදව් ඉල්ලලා මම කෑගුණා. ඊට පස්සේ පල්ලෙහා හිටපු කට්ටිය මම උඩ ඉඳලා මම බ්ලැන්කට් එක දාලා ළමයි තුන්දෙනාම ඒකට මම දෙන්නා. ඊට පස්සේ ජන්නලේ මම බැලලා පල්ලෙහාට ආවා. ඒ විලා නෝනවත් එක් ජන්නලෙන් ආවත් මම බේරගත්තා එකේ. ඒ වෙලාවේ මට උදව් කරපු පල්ලෙහා හිටපු කට්ටිය ඒකට 2019 මට වීර පොදු ජන පදනමින් සිල්වර් මෙඩල් එකක් මට හම්බුණා. මම සම්මාන ලැබුණට මම ආඩම්බර වෙනවා. මට උදව් කරපු හැමෝටම ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි.
Thank you, Mr. Ramraj. Okay, I would like to invite Professor Gamini Pushpakumara, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, to speak a few words.
Okay, Honorable Speaker of the Parliament, members of the Foundation of Civilian Bravery, Mr. Kasun P. Chandraratne, Mr. Jeremy Brohier, all other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak a few words in this occasion. First of all, it is my pleasure to congratulate civilian bravery in Sri Lanka to achieve yet another milestone in documenting their history. It is a journey of 25 years by transforming of the vision of Mr. Kasun P. Chandraratne to a fashion to continue activities in a progressive manner, I would say, linking all necessary parties in Sri Lanka to reach this milestone. So I am proud about him and the publication as well. So I want to acknowledge the Civilian Bravery Foundation and the Jam Fruit Tree publication for their contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to take your attention towards another direction. It is also an activity of bravery related to threatened flora and fauna and ecosystems. So at present, due to various reasons, activities similar to actions similar to human life, flora, fauna, and ecosystem also degraded, disappeared, and threatened. So we need to recognize the bravery activities towards protection of such. So in Sri Lanka, so little way, we initiated recognition of bravery activities on protection of threatened flora and fauna and ecosystems. So this is food for thoughts at this occasion for all of us when we documenting the next 25 years of our activities. So I wish the book launching is a beginning of another chapter of Civilian Bravery Foundation in Sri Lanka and Mr. Kasun P. Chandraratna in particular. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. So have a good day for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I would now like to invite retired Major General Ubaya Madhavala, former Chief of Staff of Sri Lankan Army, to speak a few words, please.
Honorable Speaker, former Minister, President of the Civilian Bravery Foundation, Mr. Kasun Chandraratna, distinguished representatives from foundations and societies from USA, UK, and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and greetings to you all. It is an honor and privilege to speak a few words at this occasion, and it's a memorable occasion for Kasun as well as for us. We know the pain and agony and the commitment that Kasun has put in during the last 25 years to bring this organization to the level which we are enjoying today. It's like a riverhead forming a stream and then flowing as a river into the wide ocean. He had just entered the wide ocean, opening up in many ways for people to recognize the civilian bravery, which is not a name that was heard when I joined the army way back in 1981. It is not something known to the public of this country way back at that time. Today, he has brought in that term into the system, into the society, made people aware as to what this civilian bravery is all about. In shorter terms, I could define the bravery as Kasun, because it took so much of dedication and commitment, put himself across the pedals that are not going to wield away, and through the obstacles and difficult times, he made it happen by getting us also involved in it. I could remember very well the first day that he came to me and said, then I was one of the general officer commanding, and sought assistance in getting few things done. Though I wasn't aware, I made a commitment to say that you could have my office if you wish to. But he never wanted. He started his work from his home, and he committed himself and to bring these young, brave civilians and given them some recognition on the way. I think this book launch, it's a beginning. So he has written the 25 years of history and many more years to come, that there will be many volumes that would be written. And I don't think that this particular volume of writing would definitely speak the volumes that he had done. I'm sure that he will rethink about it. He'll rethink to write another book, connecting all dots together for the future generation. I'm sure that we need to applaud him as a brave individual who took on this commitment in spite of all the challenges that he had encountered in the past to bring this organization to the levels today. He should be awarded with a gold medal. I have been speaking this all throughout whenever I had the opportunity to speak a few words. He is the most deserving individual to have a gold medal for bringing the recognition to the civilians who have put their lives at danger to save another. I am sure, Kasun, that you will encourage everyone across, and the committee is very much committed to ensure that the progress of the organization. I'm sure that everybody will rally around you in the future as well to make this organization more recognizable and to reach the heights that it deserves in time to come. And I wish Kasun, his team, the committee, and all around him all the very best and all the very best for their future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That probably brings us to the close of this program. We would like to thank all of you, who participated and everyone who worked behind the scenes. Thank you very much, and thank you especially to all the overseas parties for joining in today. It's been very early in the USA, also in the UK, and it's an interesting evening in Australia where I think they're playing a crucial cricket match. So thank you for taking time from all that and joining us, and thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.